Good afternoon, our dear colleagues and participants. I am Sofia Igorevna Aguryanova, and I'm going to be the moderator of the section Language as an Applied Discipline. The welcome remark will be given by headmistress of School 119, Timokhina Lilia Anatolyevna. Lilia Anatolyevna, you're welcome.
Дорогие друзья, мы рады приветствовать сегодня вас в стенах нашей школы. Сегодня мы проводим 9-й раз международный конкурс учебно-исследовательских и проектных работ обучающихся на иностранных языках SciSMARTicon. Безусловно, вами, дорогие мои друзья, проведена большая работа, огромная работа по подготовке исследовательских и проектных работ, которые будут представлены сегодня. Этот труд не будет незамеченным. Работа над проектами позволит вам приобрести неоспоримый опыт. И это, безусловно, так. Расширить свои знания, приобрести уверенность в выборе своей будущей профессии. SciSMARTicon сегодня 9 лет. Мы рады, что есть результаты успешности наших конкурсантов, что есть интерес к изучению иностранных языков. Поздравляю вас, уважаемые дети, дорогие педагоги, с творческим праздником, успехов и удовлетворенности результатом. Пусть победит достойный. Всего хорошего.
Thank you, Lilia Anatolyevna. Okay, and before we begin, I want to say a couple of words to our participants about the regulations. You will be given 7 minutes to present your works. When you get 1 minute left, I'll show you a tablet that reminds you that you've got only 1 minute left. Okay? So, and just one more word from you, our dear participants. You've already done a great job. And today is the day when you will make one more step forward to your success. So I wish you good luck and do your best. Okay. And the first participant is going to be Andrei Vorobyov and Sofia Peklistenkova, St. Petersburg, Gymnasium 160. The impact of physical and creative activity of adolescents' reaction rate. You're welcome. This one.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sofia Peklistenkova.
And my name is Andrei Vorobyov.
We are students of Gymnasium 116. Today we are going to give a talk about our research, the impact of physical and creative activity on adolescents' speed of reaction. Our research is important and actual because it is very important to react quickly to external influences, as they can be dangerous even deadly. For example, the reaction speed of pilots, air traffic controllers, bus and train drivers is important for numerous people.
The relevance of our work in that reaction speed in adolescence affects the quality of physical and creative activity in adolescence. Consequently, the object of the study is the reaction speed in adolescence, and the topic is the reaction speed and effects influenced by physical and creative activities done by teenagers. Our hypothesis is the reaction speed of teenagers doing sports really faster than the reaction speed of teenagers studying art?
Our research objectives are to analyze materials that consider the physiological basis of reaction speed, to analyze materials containing information on response times, gather a group of subjects between the ages from 12 to 13 and from 16 to 17, to choose a suitable methodology for the study and carry out the research, to analyze the data obtained in comparison with theoretical ideas and reaction rates.
Our methods are the analysis of scientific literature, the measurements taken using a computer-based program, and the descriptive analysis to classify and present the obtained results. We knew that the response time depends on several factors. Perception, that is an ability to see, hear, or feel a stimulus, is essential for quick reactions. In athletics, when the referee gives the starting signal, the sound changes the hears of the essence. the use of the stimulus. Information processing. In order to direct in time, a person must concentrate and understand the information well. For example, when athletes have resolved and they hear the start signal, they pick it out in the general flow of sounds and start running. And reaction. Developed motor skills are needed to react to the stimulus in a timely manner. When athletes have resolved and processed the signal correctly, they start running, reacting to the stimulus.
Our method of measuring the reaction speed was the technique simple visual motor reaction. The examined represented visual images. On seeing them, they had to press the corresponding button as quickly as possible, trying not to make mistakes. The visual images were given at random time in order not to develop a reference. The interval between the signals was from 0.5 to 2.5. The test statistics are displayed in the test results. The average, minimum, and maximum reaction times are shown.
We have chosen students in grades 6 and 10, aged 12 and 16. A total of 39 adolescents agreed to take part in the study. The participants were assigned numbers from 1 to 39. We tested 4 groups. 2 groups of younger students from 12 to 13 years old, and 2 groups of senior students from 16 to 17 years old. The method was explained to each student in details. A gray circle appears on the screen, which had to be pressed just after the signal. We asked them to write down their minimum, maximum, and average reaction parameters after we did and when we did the test. After the test, we took results into the table and compared them.
These are diagnostic results of 12 and 13-year-old children. These are diagnostic results of 16 and 17-year-old teenagers. These are average results for both groups. We see that the average reaction time of teenagers who are interested in sport react 0.09 seconds faster than their peers who do sports. The results were unexpected. But this is it. By the age of 16, teenagers who do sports react 0.09 seconds faster than young people who are interested in art.
According to the results, adolescents who study sports react faster than adolescents who study art when they are about 16 years old. But before that, teens who study art react faster than teenagers who do sports. So our hypothesis is proved, but the reaction time differs with the age of adolescents. Thank you for your attention. We will be glad to answer your questions.
Some questions for our participants. Guys, tell me please, why did you decide to choose this kind of project, this topic of the project?
We chose this topic of the project because we want to show teenagers why it is important, for example, for their future career. And we also know that teenagers with high reaction speed has high achievements, so they do their homework and study better.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and yeah, you can take your seats. Thank you very much. And the next participants are going to be Yegor Kustov and Daniil Butner.
Hello, my name is Igor Kustov. I'm an 8th grade student, school 119.
My name is Daniil Butner and I'm a grade student, school number 119.
Our research advisor, Butter with Tatiana Borisovna, school 119, a teacher of English. The topic we have chosen is the most common stereotypes that Americans have about Russians and Russian. You can see the content of the work on the slide. Everybody who is born or grown up in Russia knows its traditions and customs that people follow. But people who live abroad usually imagine our country. And the Russian people, in certain way, so we use stereotypes. The object of the research is most common stereotypes that Americans have about Russians and Russian. The subject of the research is the appearance of stereotypes is an integral part of knowing the world. The aim of the research is to get to know the stereotypical opinion Americans about Russians and Russian. Stereotype is a stamp, a cliché in everyday life. It means a certain way, a certain well-established opinion, a judgment formed about an object, process, and phenomenon. In everyday life, by the nature, stereotypes are usually are essentially colored dimensions, that develop a social and psychological experience to communication and interactions of certain groups among each other. After raising the information about the stereotypes, it is necessary to study historical context. It's usually it's emergence of cultural stereotypes in Russia and America. So existing stereotypes about Russians and Russia are all Russians wear shunka hats and military waist belt with a buckle. Bears, snow and bitter frost, all Russia are friendly. USSR, Iran is the most popular Russian name, and the average Russian has a trouble with law and in close ties with Russian mafia.
Let's take a closer look about the most popular stereotypes about Russia and Russians. All Russians wear a Rushanka hat and a military vest belt with a buckle, and lepty and valenki, and traditional Russian shirt. To be honest, there is no traditional Russian clothing. The nation is comprised by many nationalities and cultures. Rushanka is still good for winter, but it's more popular in Soviet times. Bears. According to foreigners, there are a lot of bears in Russia that commonly walk the streets. The fact that Russia is mainly located in northern part is there, but still the stereotype is extremely stupid. USSR. A huge aggressive country with a blood red flag. That's how a frightening number of foreigners see modern Russia. Snow and bitter frost. Russia has 4 climatic zones, so Russians experience all kinds of weather and temperatures. Russian beauties. The beauty of Russian women is famous all over the world. Russians are not friendly. Russians do not smile at strangers and look at them suspiciously. In Russian culture, it's considered impolite to express emotions in front of strangers. But if you know them closely enough, you will find them very friendly people. Survey result. I decided to conduct a survey among 14 Americans and was surprised by the result of this survey. You can see their opinions on this slide. You can pay attention to the diagram. There are how many % of people judge people by its stereotype and how much not. Conclusion. Americans answer my questions clearly and straightforwardly. We conclude that people in America often succumb by its stereotype. Conclusion. There are many stereotypes about us and our country. Some of them are silly, some of them are funny.
After studying the opinion of Americans, we concluded that people who have not been in Russia think about Russia worse and based. But we're pretty still sure we don't know what else speak about us. Thanks for attention. Now we're ready to answer your questions.
Any questions? Guys, tell me please, what stereotypes did you have before you began working on your research?
Yeah, thanks for your question. I will try to answer it. I think we have the stereotypes. That's all because
So you mean that you had all the stereotypes that
yes.
you had in your presentation, right?
Yes.
Okay, and what stereotype is the funniest for you?
Thanks for your question too. I think about Russian beauty. Not all Russian girls or men are beauty and handsome.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. And the next participants are going to be Elizaveta Kiseva and Anastasia Bukhanova.
Good afternoon, dear experts and conference participants. My partner's name is Anastasia Bukhanova and my name is Elizaveta Kiseva. Today we are going to present you our research work about drawing techniques in the work of modern artists. Painting not only conveys a description of objects but also carries a deep meaning and generating emotions. To begin with, we ask ourselves the following questions to understand what to do. Our hypothesis is that modern artists combine classical techniques with modern ones and create their own authors' techniques, and that teenagers are more aware in this sphere because they have a great interest in it. You can see the objectives on the screen.
First, we use the option information resources to find the classic drawing techniques. We would like to give you some examples of the most famous classic drawing techniques used by artists in the past. Gouache, oil, watercolor, and pencil. You can see that.
Then our task was to find modern artists. For this, we read official magazines and studied articles about these modern artists. Then we compiled information and got the following results: Anselm Kiefer, Richard Prince, and Takashi Murakami. Further, to identify the presence or absence of interest in modern artists, we create a survey on Google Forms tool in which 53 people took part. We divided all respondents into two categories, teenagers and adults. Then we asked questions like, have you ever seen one of the paintings presented below? And choose the picture number from the previous question that you like the most. Teenagers most like Ansel Kiefer Margarita, and adults most like Takashi Murakami for Kanye West graduation album.
The next step was to analyze the presented work of artists. Let's start to analyze them. Let's start with Kiefer spacing and Margarita. They are numerous techniques in them. He used oil, acrylic, and application on canvas, and various imitation materials, wood and stones. Look at the picture of the color scheme is gray and blue. We can see that slightly melting and a gold is depicted on foreground. Now consider the painting Margarita. It's got this dark spot with a grayish tinge, and you can see the wall, each kind of single sign of the painting. So Kiefer's paintings are very difficult to understand. Let's read the painting Richard Prince Cowboy and fashion. Cowboy help people. In the picture, Cowboy's Richard Prince is riding fast through in the Wild West. He stole this picture from commercial for Marlboro cigarettes. Now let's move on picture fashion. As you see a woman who is drinking some kind of drink. He stole this picture from a fashion magazine. His main is techniques plagiarism. Absolutely positive the painting described above by Takashi Murakami. His picture is positive and unusual. He used graffiti and Photoshop. Let's look at the Kanye West graduation. This picture was taken from album Kanye West in 2007. The last picture, flower bowl. In the middle is writing small flowers and a lot of small flowers in the background. There are flowers that have 12 petals and smile and eyes. So Murakami painting is popular with everyone.
In the course of this research work, our goals we put forward was achieved and our hypothesis was fully confirmed. In conclusion, we want to say that our work will continue. Thanks for your attention. We ready to listen to questions.
Please. What determines the choice of your topic?
Can you repeat please?
What determines the choice of your topic? Why?
Determines is that my partner is interested in drawing and teach how to draw.
Okay, could you please show the slide with the pictures? Tell me please, what picture would you choose from these ones? Which one would you prefer the most?
I think picture number 5 because this picture is very fun.
Very fun. Yeah. And what about you? What picture would you choose?
I picture number 5 is a positive and red color in the distance.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And The next participant is going to be Vitalina Belousova. She's on one.
Good afternoon, I'm a student of the 10th grade of secondary school number 18 Belousova Vitalina, and I'd like to present you my project on the topic Learning Business English with the use of modern technologies. The head of my project is an English teacher, Tulupova Elena Genrikhovna. Without any doubt, to become a successful person, it is important to constantly acquire new knowledge. If you're planning to get a job in a foreign company, then you will have to get acquainted with such section of language as business English. When studying English, there may be some difficulties associated with grammatical, lexical, and phonetic mistakes. Business English has its own peculiarities, such as ignoring strict grammar rules in conversation and leaving nothing for interpretation. In order to remember more information, it is important to start studying of the language already in high school. Those students having a certain education at the university will be able to get a job in a foreign company or maybe create his own international business. The purpose of my project is the development of an online board YSK Business English and the Telegram for mastering the basis of business section for conducting negotiations in English. You can see all the main tasks on the slide. I believe that using the board YSK Business English will not only arouse interest in learning English, but also allow you to master the basis of business English. My work was divided into 4 stages: organization preparatory, main, and generalizing. At the organization preparatory stage, I selected the necessary material about business English and decided on the way of presenting it. Today, young generation interested in modern gadgets, apps, so that they can combine both educations of various disciplines and communications in social networks. So it's possible to make a judgment that the most convenient way to assimilate information is through social networks. Then, at the main stage, I created an online board YSK Business English and the Telegram. The abbreviation of which stands for You Should Know. I'd like to add that my board consists of 5 sections, such as applications, job interview, business idioms, abbreviations, and tests. I suggested to test my board. The QR code of the board is presented on the slide. The application section contains information about what a resume is, how it's different from a cover letter, and how to fill out these documents correctly. The job interview item will tell you about 10 secrets for preparing to the job interview, such as being spot on time, get acquainted with the job where you plan to work, and others. Also, you can learn about 20 most popular business idioms in the business idioms section. In the abbreviation section, you can learn about 25 most popular abbreviations. All the abbreviations is demonstrated by examples. After the familiarization with all the topics, the neural network will offer you to take a test consisting of 20 questions. All questions are written only in English, and the task consists explanation in English and in Russian. In addition, I created an email for the user's reviews and wish. At the end of the generation stage, I sum up my game and offer its participants to take an online survey. According to the results of the survey, among 80% of respondents think that the project contributes to the formation of the business thinking. 65% of users think that the information will be useful in their life. 40% of respondents want to delve into the topic of business English. As a result of my project, I created an online board YSK Business English into Telegram and analyzed the results of the survey. Thus, the hypothesis put forward at the beginning that the project will contribute to the emergence of interests for learning English and will also allow you to master the basis of business English has been confirmed. I'd like to add that in future, I want to continue the studying of this section and plan to create a channel, Secrets of BE, In this channel, there will be information about how to use US keyboards effective. Also, you can get acquainted with interesting material about English, business jokes, and words, as well as videos about how people work in international companies and much more. You can see all them in the bibliography on the slide. Thank you for your attention. I'm ready to answer your questions.
Dear experts, any questions? No questions. Thank you. Thank you. Just go back to me. Daria, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Daria Petrova. I'm a student of 10th B class of lesson number 144. And today I'm going to represent you my research topic. TV shows and movies definitely occupy a special place in lives of many different people all over the world. The idea is that they can help you not only to relax, but also to improve your level of knowing English. Learning English this way can be one of the most affordable ways to do that, because it's also suitable for different ages, because it's now too late to learn.
Just a second.
That is why we've chosen a research topic such as learning English through watching English language TV series without dubbing, on the example of the Once Upon a Time TV series. The structure of it you can see right now on the slide. The relevance of the research is based on the immersion of the viewer into the language and culture of an English-speaking culture. If TV shows are being watched without dubbing. It's also about hearing and remembering different grammatical constructions and phrases that are not studied and used in the classes. Slide, please. Therefore, the goal of the research is to determine how much the series promotes to the studying of English language. You can also see the hypothesis, the object and the subject of the work on the slide. And we've also used different methods, such as, for example, analysis, studying, search, and statistical processing of results. To achieve the chosen goals, the four following tasks were considered. The main of them is to study the theoretical foundations of learning English through watching TV shows. Rest of them you can see on the slide. Start from different linguists from all over the world, for example, Komarov or Garcia, are convinced that cinema provides an opportunity not only to make the process of learning the language more interesting and informative, but also to motivate students to study even more. Here you can see different advantages of studying this method. For example, an improvement of listening perception of speech, because every actor speaks at different speed and with a unique accent. Or memorizing words through visualization, because even if you don't understand what characters talk about, you can understand it by watching on the screen. Now let's talk about the chosen example of a TV show. Once Upon a Time is a British youth tragicomedy show with fantasy elements. It was chosen not only because of the themes in it, but also about the audience of it, 70% of which are teenagers. We've analyzed it and found out that the main topics of dialogues are events that happened in the series before, fairy tales, and relationships between the characters. Also, the monologues in this TV series are mostly united by the theme of narration of different events or speaking out about different concepts such as faith, love, and others. We've also noticed that cross-narration in the series helps students to unleash their speech not only with everyday vocabulary, but also with special expressions of characteristics of fairy tales. After that, we've systematized the typical lexical and grammatical constructions of the show. The vocabulary can be divided into two groups of everyday and fabulous content, and in turn, the lexical composition is represented by such special language forms as colloquial words and expressions, idioms, slangisms, and phrasal verbs. And grammar is represented by a very wide variety of structures, from pretty simple ones to the complex ones. After that, we try to organize the material in the show as an educational one. First of all, we decided to find out how often students of 10th grade class watch English language TV shows. You can see the results of the survey on the slide. For example, 68% of them actually do, and 72% do pay attention to expressions and vocabulary while watching them. Based on the results of our survey and our research work, we can draw a number of conclusions, such as that learning English with help of English language TV shows is actually a good, useful, and productive method. And also that the chosen example, Once Upon a Time, is a good resource of grammatical and vocabulary material. In this research, we used different sources, such as articles of different linguists. For a list of it, you can see right now on the slide. After all, I can tell that our hypothesis was confirmed, and learning English using this method is actually a good idea. Thank you for your attention. Now I'm ready to answer your questions if you have some.
Tell me please, what is your favorite English language TV channel?
TV channel?
Yes.
I'm not actually into watching TV that much. I mostly watch different sports games, mostly football or TV shows.
And what is your favorite English language film?
I think I'd say Only Lovers Left Alive. It's a fantasy show. I really love it for its atmosphere and music and a pretty good cast.
Thank you.
Do you have a favorite phrase or idiom from this show, Once Upon a Time?
I think my favorite one is the idea that is going through the entire series. It is it's mostly about fantasy. Magic always has a price, but I think it's also can be provided into our real world, and you can actually tell that every good that happens in your life always comes with a price, and you have to work really, really hard to achieve any of your goals.
Okay, if you would be one of the characters in this TV show, what character would you like to be?
Would I like to be?
Mm-hmm.
I think I think I would like to be as Mary Margaret, Snow White, because she really has a lot of hope and a lot of love in herself, a lot of the ability to forgive people for what they've done and for giving them the second chance. I'm trying a lot to do the same. Can't tell about myself if I'm good at it, but I'm trying.
Thank you very much. Thanks. That's it? Yes, yeah. Thank you. Okay, and the next participant is going to be Veronika Malygina, and she's going to present her work online.
Вероника, вам нужно микрофон включить самостоятельно.
О, я нашла, как его включить. Супер. Уже что-то. Так.
Все слышим, все хорошо.
Всё? Нормально? Так, демонстрация экрана. Весь экран. Все. Я нажимаю заменить докладчика, да? Всё
Да.
нормально. Ну, сейчас жду. Ну, для начала всем добрый день, да? Надеюсь, у вас хорошее у всех настроение. Мне оно очень нужно. Ну, давай быстрее, пожалуйста. Он не хочет заменять.
У меня есть
Александр.
страница, я могу ее.
Ну, давай. Все, сейчас будет. Сейчас должно быть красиво. Там заменилось то, что должно было замениться?
Да, все хорошо.
Я просто уже... Да, все хорошо?
Да.
Сейчас я нажму. Все, у вас все чисто, да? Okay. Good evening. My name is Veronika Malygina. Today I want to tell you about my research project, bullying in school. Once I saw a situation when a group of elementary school students were throwing and kicking the back of a small crying girl. They were shouting and having fun while a girl was trying to take back her rucksack. We stopped it and I discussed the situation with my friends. Why did they do such a thing? I didn't have any answer. I think children don't know how to react to bullying and what to do if they are bullied. So this statement became the problem of my research project. I wanted to acquaint school children with the alternative to bullying and ways of confronting different displays of negative emotions. I examined 3 definitions of bullying, and after analysis, I decided that the most complete is following. Bullying is a prolonged physical or mental violence by an individual or group. Mental violence by a... I'm so sorry. I'm so nervous. Bullying is a prolonged physical or mental violence by an individual or group against an individual who is unable to protect himself in a given situation. You can see on the slide this definition. So the next. There are 3 types of bullying. First is physical bullying. This includes jerk, kicks, beats, and a lot of types of physical violence. The second is psychological bullying. This includes immoral, jer- immoral jerks, boycotting, and some insults. And then third types of bullying is cyberbullying. It's online bullying, threatening message, and negative comments with teasing. What are the reasons of bullying? The first is abusing the families. And I think that this is one of the most aggressive of reasons bullying, because when child feels abuse from his parents, he can be bullier in 70% in the future. In 70% chance in the future, because this is would be his childhood trauma. And the next reason of bullying is trauma in childhood. Now these children think that if fight inevitable, you need to beat first. So the last of reasons of bullying is many bullies raise their self-esteem. Так, я живая. I'm sorry. For our research, we conducted a survey among students of our school to understand if this problem is relevant among the students of different ages in our school. We asked 9th and 5th graders the following questions. How do you feel at school? What are the causes of bullying? And have you been humiliated or abused? Their answers were anonymous. According to our research, over 48% on 5th grades have been humiliated. Most students in both groups think that they need the lesson of tolerance. This result impressed us, and we decided to talk about bullying with 5th grade students about this. Then we created a leaflet with useful informations and a hotline for children and teenagers. The leaflet presents the information how to resist the bullies, find his hidden motives, and describes recommendation for seeking help in different situations. Then I am meeting with students, and we talk about types of bullying, reasons bullying, and consequence of bullying. Children ask me some questions like what we can do if parents don't believe me, or what we can do if I can't connect with my peers. And we discussed this together. Then a week later, we served again to control our work results and understand what children know about bullying and understand if our purpose was reached or not. The results of the second survey different from the first surveys. We noticed students had tried to stand up for those who had been bullied. The number of students who understand bullying has increased nearly twice. Students realized that witnesses are the participants of bullying too. Participants learned how to respond to bullying and cyberbullying. So, as a as a result of the practical part of project, fifth grade had known about bullying, its cases and consequence, and the students have learned how to react to bullying and aggressive action. Children know where they can ask for help if they have serious disagreement with their peers or their parents. And we decide that in the future we can continue our work discussing bullying as a problem of a group using role play and the different kinds of interactive exercise with other age groups. That's all I wanted to tell you about my project bullying at school. If you want to ask me about something, I'm ready. So just do it.
Okay, Veronica, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, please, tell me please, what is the best reaction when you're bullied?
Repeat, please. I don't hear you.
What is the best reaction when you're bullied?
What is the best reaction when you're bullied?
Yeah.
Okay. The best reaction now when stop. When you mean when you victim of bullying?
One more time, please.
You mean victim of bullying or when you see a bullying?
Yeah, for the victim, what's the best reaction? What should the
Okay.
victim do?
When you victim of bullying, you should be calm and understand the motive of buller. Then you, if you don't understand the buller and you can't to tell him, you need to tell with parents or teachers and people which can help you, or you can call on hotline.
Okay, thank you. More questions? Yeah. Thank you.
Veronica, I know that you have spent a lot of time working on this project. So tell me please, what are you going to be? Yes, in future.
Так, да, все, мне выкинуло просто. Это все? Или еще что-то? Есть вопрос еще?
Question in the chat. You can check it in the chat. What are you going to do in the future?
I like it. It happens with
I would I would discuss about bullying in the group of people and do some role play for kids and adults. I think that bullying need to be a big problem in the community because all of us sometimes face to this.
Okay, thank you, Veronica. And the last participant is going to be Amina Sarmusok. She is online, right? Yes.
Вероника, отключите свою презентацию.
Так видно?
Угу. Все видно, все слышно.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samusokwa Amina. I'm a 10th grade student, and today I would like to present my project, which is called Aromatherapy and its effect on the human performance. We're surrounded everywhere by various smells that can affect us mentally and physically, and I was really curious if smells can actually affect our performance. My project is relevant because nowadays many people try to be more productive without getting stressed, and aromatherapy could be one of the ways to solve this problem. The hypothesis is that the use of aromatherapy has a positive effect on performance and concentrations of people. The purpose of the work is to find out how aromatherapy affects our performance when we do some mental work. And to do this, I studied some internet resources, I did questioning, and I conducted experiments. The history of the use of essential oils goes back to antiquity. For example, Egyptian priests used to make special recipes for pharaohs and high society because it was believed that some smells can affect quality of sleep. Greek athletes rub their bodies with essential oils before competitions to lift their spirits. And other countries like Russia, China, Italy also used smells in various ways. There are two ways that scents can affect us. The first one is neuroflexive, which is associated with olfactory nerve fibers, which are related to olfactory brain center, which controls our emotions. And the second one is humoral, which is related to the influence of essential oil molecules on the mucosa of the respiratory tract. There are 5 factors that can affect human performance. It's physical and psychological characteristics, the level of intellectual development, psychological characteristics, work environment, and knowledge and skills. When I conducted the experiment, I focused mostly on psychological characteristics and working environment. Speaking about the time when our work efficiency is the highest, I can say that during the day, the third stage, which is called the period of steady performance, is the highest among others. And speaking about the week, Wednesday and Thursdays are the days with the highest level of productivity. My practical part included 3 stages. The first one, I had to make some questionnaires, select tests, and conduct the experiment. I made 2 questionnaires with 2 sections with the help of Google Docs, and this text included 2 sections. The first section you needed to make before making the basic test, and in the second one you had to write the results of the tests. I selected 3 tests. The first one is the Schulte tables. You can see it on the screen. The person is offered 5 tables on which the numbers from 1 to 25 are randomly placed, and the person finds, shows, and names all the numbers in ascending order in the certain period of time. The second test is red-black table, and the subjects are asked to find the red and black numbers, but write only letters. And the red numbers needed to be found in descending order, and the black numbers in ascending order. And the last one is sequence memory. The participant is asked to remember the order in which squares lights up, and over the time the number and the shapes are getting harder, so it's getting harder for the participant to remember all of them. And the participant of the experiment were 14 teenagers from the age from 14 to 17, and this experiment didn't require any special equipment, skills, or knowledge, so the participants could make these tests at home in comfortable time. On the next 3 slides, you can see the diagrams of the results of each test. It's red-black table, Schulte table, and sequence memory. And summarizing, I can say that the results of participants depended on their belief in the veracity of the theory of the aromatherapy effects, but however, most scores increased by the average of 12.93%, and the mood and condition of the participant also improved by an average of 21.3%. And the conclusion I made is the use of smells in most cases can increase the overall performance and mood of the person if this person himself believes in the veracity of the theory. In total, I proved the hypothesis about aromatherapy. I think all the planned tasks and goals were achieved. I got a good practice as a researcher who had to find tests, make them, make people do them, and analyze all the data. And this project can be used by others to further study of aromatherapy as a branch of human psychology and physiology, and the results can become a basis for creating a methodology for using aromatherapy as a way to increase efficiency in universities, schools, and other places when the metal work is required. And that's all that I wanted to say today. Thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, I can answer them.
Amina, tell us please, where did you get to know about the aromatherapy?
First of all, I noticed that if I attend the class and this class smells well, my productivity increases. So I thought that smells can affect us in some way, and I searched about it in the internet, and I found that there are some hypotheses and researches about it. So I thought that it would be great to do this project and tell people about aromatherapy as a way to increase productivity and efficiency of work.
Thank you. Any questions?
How do you feel about allergies to fragrances?
Can you repeat? I didn't.
What is your opinion about allergies to fragrances?
About the
Allergies to fragrances.
yes, of course, there are some allergies, and I recommend to people if they have some allergies to not do this. But in my experiment, I found people without any allergies. I asked them about that. They told me that they don't have any problems with it. But for other people, if they have, they are not required to do that, and I don't recommend them to do that.
Thank you. And there is actually one more participant, and her name is Anna Konovaya.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here. Let me introduce myself. My name is Anna, and I'm a student of 10th grade. And I'm a 10th grade student. Now I'd like to give you an overview of inclusive education and its peculiarities. Inclusive education is a process of the education which provide the stability of education for children with some special needs. Inclusive education has become the new method of teaching at schools. It helps disabled children to adapt among school children, whatever the severity of problems with health they have. As we know, today English plays a huge role in almost all spheres of our life. But when disabled children start learning foreign language, they can come across with different physiological and physical needs. Uh, my research work was done by the reason of the fact that my cousin had a chronic illness and our family has to use the inclusive education. She was moved to individual training. Because of this, she lost the contact with her peers. Studying the second foreign language is the biggest problem for her because the school material in this subject is poor. I study in English class and I have an intermediate level of English. In addition, I know the aspects of pedagogy and psychology. Therefore, I was ready to be a tutor for her. If you have a look at this slide, you can notice the aim and tasks of my work. Firstly, I needed to study the principles of inclusive education and the history of occurrence, find out information about such first inclusive schools as Abingdon House School in Great Britain and Kovчег in Moscow, and determine how the tutor contributes to the field of inclusive education. Let's turn to 8 main principles of inclusive education. Nowadays, almost all of the European countries are successfully following them. I'll give you some examples. Firstly, the person's value does not depend on the abilities and achievements. Secondly, each person has an ability to feel and think. And thirdly, each person has the right to communicate and to be heard. Other examples you can see on the slide. And it's wanted to mention first schools with inclusive education. Abingdon House School was the first school for boys with musculoskeletal disorders, which was opened in London in 1865. Since then, British government, Great Britain government has passed many documents which regulated the inclusive educational organizations. The first school in Russia with inclusive education was organized in 1991 in Moscow, and it was called Kovчег. There, disabled children and healthy children could study together. By now, the special educational places for disabled children were organized in 11 regions of Russia. In 2019, 38 educational institutions from Yaroslavl were included in the program of inclusive education. Disabled children can get their vocational education in these institutions. To get back to my main point, the concept of tutoring came to Russia from the UK. A tutor acts as a guide and assistant in the educational process. It's especially necessary to use the technology of tutoring support while working with disabled children. And here are the examples of tutors' functions. The main one is to create favorable conditions for the educational process for all children. As I said, I had been working as a tutor for 3 months, so I had been following some special rules while teaching disabled child. For instance, training format that includes game technologies in communication. It helps to develop the ability to analyze, compare, generate, justify their points of view, and create new ideas. Nevertheless, at first I started with testing to find out my sister's language level, then made an individual educational plan, and afterwards retested to determine progress. Here is an approximate plan of recommendations for a tutor to teach English among disabled children, which is based on the format of one lesson I taught. The results of my work should also be mentioned. After 3 months of my work as a tutor, my sister became more confident in English lessons. She has a desire to further study the foreign language. She can present herself in English, and we achieved an increase in vocabulary from 200 words to 300 words. Finally, my plan of recommendations for a tutor to teach English among disabled children has already given positive result. No doubt it can help not only disabled children to master the language, but also future teachers who want to try themselves as tutor. In the future, this plan can be used while working with other children, both individual and in small groups. I strongly believe that my research work and such plan of recommendations are very important nowadays, because in Russia inclusive education has appeared recently, and it's necessary to promote its development. Moreover, as we know, 2023 is declared by the President as the year of the teacher and tutor, and from day to day, our government and society pay more and more attention to such category of children as disabled children. My work as a tutor does not end with this project, and now I'm already working with a group of children whom I also help to learn English and to improve their knowledge. There is a literature that I used. Thank you for your attention. I'm happy to answer your questions.
Anna, tell us, please, have you chosen your future profession?
Yeah. And honestly, I have a dream to become a teacher. That's why I pay all my attention to this sphere, and I'm trying to do my best.
Very good, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so it was the last participant for today, and now we are going to have 5 or 7 minutes while our experts are rating your works, and in 5 or 7 minutes we will see the results. Actually, you can see the process on our screen, right? So we need just 5 or 7 minutes. So I'm going to give your diplomas to you, and the participants who are online are going to be sent the online diplomas. Okay, so and the diploma of participant is awarded Bukanova Anastasia. And Kisieva Елизавета. Next one, the diploma of participant is awarded Batnek Daniel. And Gustav Igor. And now I'm going to give the diplomas of the winners to Yeshova Darga, Пеклистенкова София, Воробьев Андрей. Okay. And also the participants who are online, the diploma of the winner is going to Ершова, no? Конова Анна and Белоусова Виталина. And Sarmusokova Amina. Okay. I want to thank all the participants for the great work they've done. You've made a great impact, and I think you've done your best, right? So I wish you good luck and to do your best all the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.